Yes, everybody, welcome back to Talking Wolves. Welcome back to the final part of our Sell, Loan, Keep series as we look at the Wolves squad after the 23-24 season and evaluate what we should do with them ahead of the new campaign. Alongside me today, we've got Mr. Jord Russell. Jord, how are you?
Still good, mate. Are you?
Still good. Yeah, I'm all good, mate. All good. We've already done the goalkeepers and defenders in part one. We did the midfielders in part two, which will already be on the channel, and we're now onto the final part where we're looking at all the attackers. So we should have some decent debate and conversation about these. George, we'll kick off with the big one, Mr. Pedro Neto. Probably going to be the most discussion about this player. Literally, as we started our recording, we saw a report from the Telegraph saying that Wolves are going to be holding out for in and around that £60 million. Such a good footballer, but been held back massively by injuries again this season. But that's just been the story of his Wolves career, isn't it, Jord? Like, just always seems to be injured, Pedro Neto, especially when he hits a good run of form.
Yeah. He seems to hit. He's like like you say, hits form and then he does a hammy or something, or he has a bad injury. And I think because of how explosive he is as a footballer and those quick, sharp movements, he's always going to have these sort of injuries where tears, niggles. I mean, he got unfortunate with. I think he dislocated his patella a couple seasons ago, and then that obviously held him back a little bit. Look, like there's no doubt in Pedro Neto's ability as a footballer, and also how good he is when he's been at full throttle for Wolves. I just think the money that's being touted for him, you sell him. I think he's a hard sell in terms of some of these other videos have sort of said, yeah, soft sell, whatever. But no, for me, Neto, thank you for everything you've done. Very good, talented footballer. He'll go on and have an amazing career, go and win some trophies, but we've got to take the money because unless he was playing 45 games a season for us, which he's never done, and I don't think he ever would do because he gets too many injuries, you just got to sell him. You've absolutely got to sell him for that sort of money because as another one more bad injury, that 60 becomes 30 because that 60 was spoke about 80 early parts of this season and other parts, and it's already come down. Sell him at 60, shake hands, thank you very much. Go and win trophies. He'd always get a good reception down Molineux if he was playing in the Premier League still. Yeah, don't begrudge him anything, but for me, he's a sell on this series.
I think, I mean, you mentioned there, we look at the 21-22 season, he played 13 games in all competitions. 22-23 season, he played 19 games. And this year as well, he only played 24 games, all competitions. That's including the cups. It's just not enough, is it? And if you have got someone saying, we'll give you 50 to 60 million, I'd have conversations between 40 and 50. I would as well, to be honest. I genuinely would. If I'd applaud Wolves if they managed to get 60 million for him, to be completely honest. But such a good footballer. I think you look at his the way he started this season as well. What was he on? 8 assists, I think, before he got the first
9, I
injury.
think it was.
Yeah, I think he got
I
9
think I saw
overall.
something on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with the rate that he was on, he would have if he continued with that trajectory, he would have broken the Premier League assist record, which, but that's how well he started the season. So it's such a shame. And like I mentioned many times already on the podcast or videos, him, Cunha and Hwang, I would say are our best front three. We've not seen them start together since the end of October, which is, a travesty really. But I would love to have seen where we would have finished or what we would have achieved this season if Neto had remained fit for sure. But ultimately, for a team like Wolverhampton Wanderers, where we need to try and claw every opportunity, every point we can, you can't afford to have a luxury player like this only available for 50% or less of the season, can we?
No, that's the thing. Like he'd say there's no, let's say, there's no doubt in his ability as a footballer, but we can't afford to have a £60 million asset playing half our games a season. We're not Man City or one of these clubs, like that sort of. If we've got a £60 million player, they need to be playing every minute of every game and putting up ridiculous numbers.
Yeah,
for it's worth even keeping around the squad. And we won't get that with him. I think history shows us that. So, yeah, thank you for the service and everything. But yeah, I think he's for this series he's a sell, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I agree. We'll move on to Hwang Hee-chan, Jord. This is one. It's funny because I think with Hwang, I can't think it was last year or the year before, where it was. I think we'd only just signed him, and I was saying sell, and really didn't enjoy seeing him on the pitch. But opinions can change in football, and he's had a really good year. Again, a little bit frustrating with the injuries that he's picked up throughout the year, to be honest. But ultimately, again, a very good campaign for him. I finished, as one of our top goal
Yeah,
scorers.
yeah, for sure. I think he's had a very, very good season for us. Again, he's another one that does pick up a lot on niggles and knocks and stuff, and it's annoying. It's frustrating. I know he can't help it, but if it had been, it's just that period in and around, losing Neto, then losing Hwang, and losing Cunha all at the same time. It's so frustrating for us. And yeah, look, he's had a very, very good season. Um, Still think there's aspects of his game which needs work on. Still don't think he's very good when he's trying to hold up the ball, or even some of his his first touch at times lets him down. But when he gets in between the posts, in and around the box, he's lethal. And you can't really buy that, and it'll cost us a lot to replace that sort of
Yeah.
instinct within another player. So for me, absolutely keep him. And I think he likes being here. Um, Certainly, Wolves as a club like having him. He definitely hits that Asian market from a merchandise perspective, and we're now seeing South Korean a certain amount of tickets being held for South Korean supporters who come over with the
Yeah.
museum and stuff growing the game. Absolutely, I think it's great for us as a club that, and yeah, I really like him. I really like him and I want him to do well. So yeah, I'd absolutely keep him.
Yeah, matched his best league goal scoring record, 12 goals this season, second best, level best with 16-17 when he was in Austria with Red Bull Salzburg. But mate, this year 13 goals in just 29 games he played for us this year is a fantastic
Really good.
return, really good
Yeah,
return, really kicked on this year. Bearing in mind his first year at Wolves when he was on loan, he only scored 5. He scored 4 goals last year, so to have 13 goals in less appearances as well than those 2 seasons. He really, really kicked on. And again, I think, the service that Neto and Cunha brought him, he's had certain games, Hwang, where he's been a little bit restricted on his own. If he's had service from different players, then who knows, could have been even more goals. But yeah, I think that's a keep for now, and bringing a lot to the club at the moment. So hopefully next season we can keep him fit a little bit longer. Obviously Asia Cup as well. He hit a really nice run of form before the Asia Cup, and yeah, that a little bit frustrating. But we'll move on to Cunha now, Jordan. I know you mentioned in the last video about João Gomez potentially being one of your favourite players. I think for me it's Matheus Cunha this year, and at the certain age I am now, if people ask me if I have a favourite player, I'm like, no, not really. But I think Cunha's really kicked on, and I think not just what he produces on the pitch, but just sort of his aura as a footballer and as a person. Really, really enjoying watching him play. And another fantastic year. For another player who's had a fantastic year. Him and Hwang both hitting double figures in the league, which is fantastic for us. I think over 20 goal contributions for Cunha this year. Really kicked on after a slow start last year, and this is sort of what we mentioned a couple of times throughout the videos, where with these players coming from abroad, you almost need to give them that little bit of time. There's just 2 goals in 20 games last year, but 13 goals in 32 this year. Really kicked on, and we sorely missed him as well when he was out injured, didn't we?
yeah, yeah, for sure. And he was almost linked Neto and Hwang, didn't he? Really, he's almost like that, because he's not a traditional number 9. But I think he's a very, very good footballer. Again, over the moon. He plays for our club. Great character. Very, very good season. Looking forward to what he can do next season. He's an absolute keep for me.
For
I
sure,
think we bought
100%.
him for over 50 million quid in total from Atletico Madrid. I think we'd be hard pressed to make a big profit on that for him. So I just don't think he simply puts up the numbers you need for someone to buy. I don't think we'll get 80 million quid for Cunha. You know what I mean? I think to make it worthwhile the sale. The only thing that I think will be interesting is that I do actually think that Lopetegui might come
You
in
think
for him in the
West
summer.
Ham?
Yeah, yeah, I can see Lopetegui in West Ham being
Yeah, but would
interested. I
West Ham
think,
pay that money? Do you think?
well, if they sell Paqueta, they might have the money, or
60 odd or
Kudos
something
or
like that.
Bowen. Yeah, and again, I don't think we'll sell. I just think watch this space on that. I think West Ham will come in for Cunha for sure.
Interesting, yeah. I mean, again, best season for him in terms of numbers by far throughout his career, even including his time in Switzerland and in the Bundesliga. Really, really good player. Really, and enjoyed it. I'm disappointed he's not in the don't think he's in the Copa America squad, but that's obviously
No, he's
due
not.
to injuries and stuff. But so I'm gutted for him on that. But yeah, I think it's just a player. It sounds like he's appreciating his time at Wolves at the moment, and I really hope he kicks on and can continue. And 11 goals, a very high amount of goals for a Premier League forward. So if he can match that or even better that next year, I'll be happy. And again, another
Yeah,
player that maybe as good of a season he had, been held back slightly by Neto's injury as well, because Neto was just producing. Although Cunha was a massive part of it, Neto was just putting everything on a plate for everyone really. So. Hopefully a big season for him. A couple of players now, Jord, that have sort of been in and around the team, and obviously moving on to the loan players as well. Enzo Gonzalez, been a strange old season for him. Obviously, Wolves spent a little bit of money on him, chucked a few million at him. He came on, didn't he? I think against Palace. I missed that game, so I think he came on towards the end of
he
the
did come
game,
on
did
at
he?
the end. Yeah, come on
So
at the
that's his
end. Yeah,
only appearance to the Wolves. Again, had a lot of injuries, was out with Paraguay for a little bit as well, had minimal opportunity in the under-21, so can't really report too much on his campaign overall. So I think I'd be leaning maybe towards, I don't know, I'd say a loan, but I don't know where you'd place him, to be honest, because he left Paraguay to join Wolves. That's the first time he'd been out of Paraguay, I think, or South America at the very least. So that was 12 months ago now. So this next year for him has
yeah.
got to be a big one. He's playing first team football in Paraguay and performing quite well, but he's only 19 now. Do you think a loan's the way to go? I think he needs a big season, doesn't he?
He needs a big season. I think he needs to play football. Just be interesting, really, because he definitely needs football. I just don't know whether we'll give him enough game time next season. He's obviously come with a real good profile, doing a lot of things in, like I say, men's football in Paraguay. Um, and I think it's just one of those things where he's just come in, he's been allowed to bed in, learn the language, learn the area, take his time, work at Technical Fireplace Company midweek as well, and sort of make a wage that way as well, which he couldn't do in Paraguay. No, look, in all seriousness, I think a loan would be the right thing for him, but I think we'll keep him in and around the squad because
Yeah.
I think we saw a lot of potential in him, and he's had injuries. Like he's had a couple knocks. Didn't he? Was it the Under 20 World Cup? There was a tournament wasn't there as well
It was
in the season.
the pre-Olympic tournament.
Pre-Olympics was it?
Yeah, and he played quite well for Paraguay in that as well. He scored a
Yeah, he
goal.
did. Yeah, so that's what. Yeah, so I think we'll keep him round because I think he
So
was
that'll
bought for the
buy.
first team.
This could scupper. I say scupper the plans. You would assume he'll be in Paraguay because they qualified that year. You'd assume he'll
He
be in
did qualify
Paraguay's squad, and
for
normally the
the Olympics
Olympics
this summer.
overlaps with the
This
start of the
summer?
season. Yeah, normally
Yeah,
overlaps with the
yeah.
start of the season as well, doesn't it? So
Because the Euros is June till July, and I'm pretty sure the Olympics is more so late July to
Augusta.
through August, middle August, because then they have the Paralympics down
I'm
at the
sure.
end.
I'm
So
sure they miss the
I think
first couple of games of the season.
he probably will. He definitely probably well he will. If Paraguay do well and he's in the squad, he probably will miss the start of the season. So that might mean he'll stay at least until January when he gets back, and
Yeah.
then and then he might get a loan. But for me, he's a keep for now.
Okay. Yeah. Sound. Noah Lemina again, another one. Did we even see him come on at all? Did
No,
we?
they didn't make an appearance. No.
Yeah.
He's made
So
a
he's
couple of squads.
yeah, he's in the squad a number of times. He had a couple of games to the 21s. Again, I think the move for him this January was never for him to break into the first team. I think it would have been nice as an option. There were comments about how well he was doing in training, but I think he had a sort of poor season overall for him at Sampdoria, where he's never got going. I think he really struggled to get his fitness. Then he got his, the family bereavement as well, which would have held him back massively, especially as an 18-year-old kid. I will €1 million option, Jord. I'd be very surprised if Wolves don't take this up. To be completely honest, I would assume that he's going to be part of the squad and he kicks on next year, maybe.
Yeah, I think they'll keep him. I think they obviously see potential in him, and I think it was more of an emotional purchase rather than
Yeah,
a tactical one. Obviously, there's a player there. He was struggling in Serie B. I think Sampdoria are
yeah,
at that moment. Um, Struggling in Italy a little bit to get fitness and form. Obviously, his dad dies. He's in a foreign country. His big brother's over here. I think we did. I think it was the right thing. There's definitely a player there because he was at PSG as well, wasn't he, as a youngster? So
yeah. That's where we signed from. Yeah.
yeah, so that PSG thing we just weren't doing in Sampdoria. Yeah, we'll definitely buy him. and we're not going to lose anything. Like what's €1 million
I've
this
just
day and
read. I
age?
don't
You
know
know what I
if
mean?
I'd assume Wolves will obviously have a big say in it, but a lot of it apparently it's Noah Lemina who will trigger the option or not, whether he wants to stay. So I've just read. I just googled, like, it came up in. I just googled it again. So the 1 million purchase option um, may or may not be exercised by Noah Lemina. It is he who will decide if his eventual with Wolves will continue. So
Well, I'm sure he will, but
yeah,
they're a bit weird with some of those deals, aren't they? PSG, because I'm sure. Again, I know it didn't have any relevance to our this talking Wolves channel, but they've done the same with Xavi Simons, haven't they, as well?
yeah,
Where it's almost he can basically say, yeah, he did. Yeah, weird thing, but I'm pretty sure Noah Lemina will want to stick around for €1 million. And I think it's a good thing. It's a good environment for him to come and be around his big brother. Can only imagine what it is to lose a parent that sort of age, or any age, to be honest with you, unfortunately. But yeah, I think it's a big thing for him. I think he'll stay, and I think the club will exercise and pay it. So yeah, he's a keep.
yeah, definitely. And a few maybe other players now. Nathan Fraser broke into the team. Some okay cameos. I think he'd been unlucky really again. He didn't look fully fit. I think chucked into the deep end. I think Wolves would have ideally wanted him to go out on loan to sort of League Two, League One level this year, and due to one reason or another, had to keep him around. And fair play to him. He got a couple of goals. I thought he was brilliant in the FA Cup game against Brentford. I think he came off the bench, took his finish so well, and almost turned the game around himself. But still, I think Jord needs first team football next year.
Yeah,
I'm still not convinced it's championship level. I think top end League One potentially is and maybe that's me being harsh. I don't know, but I think he needs a loan next year.
yeah, he definitely needs a loan, and you forget he's like 18, 19 years old. Chucked in the deep end really when we had a bit of a crisis. So he's come in and done that. I know through speaking to someone who actually knows his family that he was close to joining the SPL on loan in January.
Mm.
I think he was going. I think it was
A
Motherwell or
fine fact.
Kilmarnock. I think we're looking
Yeah.
to. Yeah, she's fine, thanks. Yeah, one of those two I think is where he was going to go to. But I agree with you. I think he definitely needs a loan deal. I think you might see him go to the SPL from that conversation I had.
Mm.
I think he might go to where he was going to go in January. Well, I'm pretty sure it was Motherwell, and I think they still like him. Or I'll put it out there now. I think Nathan Fraser might go on loan to someone like Wrexham,
Yeah. It would
which
surprise
would
me.
be a
Yeah.
very exciting loan deal for a young lad. And I think he could go there and do a good job. So yeah, I'll definitely get a loan deal, and I think fans that have written him off already don't write him off yet.
No,
I
for
think
sure.
I made the comment on the pod a few weeks ago. Like, I'm not saying he's going to become Harry Kane, but Harry Kane had multiple loans where actually people have written him off. Leighton Orient, Millwall, Norwich. I think that might have been it. There might be another
Leicester,
one.
did you say?
Leicester,
Yeah.
Leicester. And then look at him now. So I think strikers mature in their own time a little bit. Definitely got potential. So just watch his space for him. But hopefully he goes out and has a very good loan. Gets a good loan and has a good season next year.
Another player as well, Leon Chiwomi, similar situation to Fraser. Again, injuries. Really struggled with injuries throughout the season, to be fair, Chiwomi, and never really broke into the 21 setup as such. Never had a huge amount of game time. But he came in and, again, a similar sort of impact. Probably physically, like, just had that little bit more pace than Fraser, but I think I would probably trust Fraser in front of goal maybe a little bit more than Leon Chiwomi. But no doubt, England Youth International, massive potential ahead of him. Is same route for you? Is it another loan that sort of level? Do you think, Jord?
Yeah, I think so. Or I think there's an argument to say keep him just to be again around the first team squad and go and play for the 23s, because again he didn't really have a 23s career. He didn't really play much for the 23s last year.
Yeah,
So, I think it's good to get these players loan deals, but also there's a value in keeping some of them behind as well. So, yeah, I think on paper, loan, but I think I'd be shocked if they both went out on loan,
I
if I'm
agree. Yeah.
honest with you. And I think Fraser needs the loan more than Leon at the moment.
It'll be interesting overall. I think for the 21 setup, I think it's been a slightly underwhelming campaign for them. Um, and obviously Gary O'Neill has said firsthand what these two can do. But obviously Fraser Holman's another one who we're not going to mention on the video because he's not really had a huge
Yeah.
impact, but had little injuries. So I think the 21s need a proper number 9, and it will probably be out of those three. Nathan Fraser, I think will probably go
He'll
out,
go.
and it'll be probably between Chiquinho or Fraser Holman who sticks around, but we'll wait and
Yeah.
see. And then we'll move on to players that are currently out on loan. Jord, Fabio Silva. The opinion for me, the opinion on him has changed since he's moved to Rangers. To be completely honest, I think it would have been worth sticking around. But we mentioned on one of the videos, Gary O'Neill made comments about players who want to be at this football club, and if you don't, then we'll find a buyer for you. I would assume Fabio Silva was one of those that you may have been alluding to. I can't know for sure, but I'm not going to say disastrous because he scored goals, and again he scored over the weekend for Rangers, but it's not been probably as productive as what Wolves would have wanted, has it?
No, and I think when he went to PSV last January on loan, um, he had a very good impact on the team there,
Yeah.
and actually his value rose by that loan deal. And actually, there was a sellability for Wolves if we wanted to last summer, probably to cash in on him then. But we saw enough of him at PSV, and we wanted to persevere with it. And I wanted to persevere with him as well last summer. Obviously, he's gone to Rangers out on loan. Obviously, kicked up a stink behind the scenes because he wasn't playing enough or thought he should be playing more. Didn't take any of his chances. Let's be fair. In the first half of the Premier League season, gone to Rangers, and the fans dislike him massively. I think what he did the other week was bang out of order.
Yeah.
That celebration, shushing the fans, showing his name, whatever. Like, you got bought for 35 million quid. You should be scoring fucking 50 in Scotland. And you know what I mean? He should be. He should be. If you think that good and you are that good, you should be levels above that level. And he hasn't been. And yeah, for me, sell him. It's one thing, unfortunately, it didn't work for us. We spent a lot of money on a kid and he got thrown into the deep end. And I don't hate Fabio Silva. I've always wanted him to do well. I just think he's come across as a bit of a dickhead in his time at Rangers. And if Gary O'Neill's comments at Anfield in the press were about him or about him and a collection of other players, I think what he said was very fair. And it's quite clear he wants out. He doesn't want to be here. Best of luck to you. But yeah, sell as quick as possible.
What fee do you think though? 10?
I think we'll do well to get. I think if we get more than 15 million euro, to call it 12 million quid, I think we've done very well. But it still seems like there are admirers there or people who think they can, want to take a chance on him in Italy and Portugal and Spain.
He's still a kid, man. He's like 21 still.
Yeah, yeah.
21, turns
And
22
this is
in
what
the
I'm saying.
summer.
I think he could go and have a great career. And you know what part of me wishes he'd do? I don't wish
I don't
ill
think
on
it'll
him
work
or
for him in Britain.
bad feeling.
Yeah, I think if he
It won't work
goes
for him here.
abroad, Wolves make sure they back themselves up with future,
Some
clauses and
sell-on
so
fee
on.
and whatever.
Then it could be a winner. Look,
Yeah.
he had 3 loan spells out. Wolves would have. I'm not going to say we've clawed back 5 or 10 million, but we would have clawed back a little bit of money on him. But
Yeah, we've had a little bit back.
yeah, sometimes you got to write transfers like this off. And there's going to be other players that I mentioned in a minute, which same sort of thing. Daniel Podence, Jord, saw him crying after the Olympiacos game last week. I think he scored apparently a really nice goal last night, which I've not caught yet.
Yeah.
Olympiacos got a sort of 5 to 6 million euro clause, which we're unsure whether they're taking it because there's been sort of contradicting reports at the moment. But do you think he's a player that would be welcome back at Wolves, or would you welcome him back at Wolves? Do you think his time here is done?
I just think it's done. I don't think he's a bad player, and I think his impact at Wolves, he had good games for us.
For sure.
I didn't quite like, I thought he was a bit petulant and some of the antics and whatever. I wasn't a big fan of that. But there's no doubt he's a quality footballer. He's got very good technically.
Great
Yeah,
numbers
I just
in
think
Greece,
he's
by
one
the
of
way. Didn't realise how he scored
yeah,
15 goals this season.
Again, though, you'd expect him to in that sort of league, wouldn't you? Really, playing for the top side in Greece. Yeah, I think I'm shocked the fees as little as 5-6 million euro, and if in you know Marinakis can't afford it, maybe you have to sell Gibbs White at Forest and loan his parent company, his parent club, a couple million quid so they can buy Podence off us. No, look, I just think, I think his time's done. Don't necessarily think. I think he could come back and have an impact, but for me, I think it's done. I'd just sell him.
I think you'd probably make more money than that as well. I know people
I do
moan
as well.
about the fee, that Wolves were making a loss as such. But you got to think he was on originally a 5-year deal. This would have been I know he signed a little extension before he left on loan just to back Wolves up a little bit. But Wolves got 4 years out of that 5 year. We signed it. We paid a certain amount for a contract. We got 4 years out of it. So that's especially with a player of his sort of age, and he's still got loads of years left in the tank. He's 28.
And Olympiacos would have paid a decent fee. I'd have fought for him.
Yeah,
in the summer
exactly.
as well to get him on loan.
You look. This is his best scoring season ever as a player. So if Olympiacos say no, we're not interested, mate, there'll be clubs around Europe looking at him thinking, with his goal record. So they've done well in Europe as well. So they're in the Europa League final.
They're playing the conference final, aren't they?
Yeah, conference.
They beat Villa.
Yeah. So if he wins that, maybe a little bit more. They might wait to see if they win that before they sign him. Or there might be some sort of...
But I think what's weird about that one as well, I'm not sure if it's at the Olympiacos Stadium or not. I don't think it will be, but it's in Athens as well, the final.
Oh, is it?
So
interesting.
So, obviously a Greek team in a Greek final.
Yeah. So Podence sell though, yeah. You think, regardless of...
I just don't think time's done at Wolves.
Yeah, I think the atmosphere that Gary O'Neill's trying to create as well. I just don't think he sort of suits it, if I'm completely honest. So, Sasa Kalajdzic, again, this is another player that Gary O'Neill may have been alluding to, because Sasha did make subtle comments after he left Wolves, but unfortunately had a disastrous injury once again, and I doubt he'll be back for pre-season. And it might be a job where he's not going to be back till sort of October time, but I don't even know what to say for this one, Jord, because you can't sell him this summer, so I think we're going to have to keep him. But conversations have got to be had going up towards January about Sasha, haven't they? I mean, I think Gary O'Neill would have kept him around personally, because he came on and made impact in a couple of games this season. But ultimately for Sasha, and I don't know the way he went around it, but he wanted to play football to make sure he could get in the Austria squad for the Euros, and obviously it backfired, unfortunately. But I think we're going to have to keep him. But what are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I think we're going to have to keep him because we're not going to sell him. I just don't think. I don't think anyone's going to buy him. And I mean that again. I think actually there is an option for us. I think the only reason why he went in January was because of the Euros. And I think he went with good. It seemed like at the time it wasn't like it was a fallout or anything like. It seemed like there was a bit of a gentleman's agreement, and his wife was heavily pregnant at the time. They could be closer to the family in Austria.
She's got a restaurant in Tetnal as well. She's got like a cafe restaurant in
Tetnal. I just think with Sasa now, and I've said it jokingly on the pod a few times, if he was a racehorse, he'd have been put down because of it's too many bad. You can't. Both we saw what happened with Johnny Otto with his cruciates, both different legs.
Yeah.
I just don't think anyone's buying him. I don't even know if he'd be able to get through a medical.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Or it'd be very. If someone was interested in, would he even get through a medical?
Oh, not now. No. It would.
No, but I mean, not when he's fit and everything. Oh. But what I'm saying is, you look at his medical record and you go, well, 2 ACLs and all this stuff. It's
it's a risk, but I think there's still. I think he's such a. I think
he's unique,
such a unique footballer. I think if he can get fit and he stays at Wolves until this time next year, for argument's sake, and stays injury free, I think you'll have suitors next summer. I'm not saying you're going to get
maybe
a profit on what Wolves paid. I think Wolves have got to, I don't know. It's a shame because sometimes you ignore the facts, but there were some people saying, "Look at his injury record." Even when Wolves signed him,
when we signed him,
but I was excited. I was like, "Yes, a striker!" I don't want to look at that and sort of, there you go. But it's a shame. I'll be interested to see what happens with him. Could be an asset going towards the Christmas period. But we'll wait and see. Chiquinho, Jord, another one. Really interesting prospect, potentially going into the new season. I think personally I might keep him around. I think the biggest reason he needed to go out on loan this year was to get sharp and fit because he had a nasty injury. If I remember rightly, though, you weren't overly impressed with him.
No, say I'm not a fan. That's wrong. I liken it to. He came in when we were shit under Bruno Lage and the season was fizzling out and he was direct and he was fun and I compared him to Jordan Graham.
I think that's a great
comparison. Might be harsh.
No, I think it's a good comparison.
But you know what I mean? Where Jordan Graham come in and everyone's like, fucking hell, this guy's great. And it was just because he's a bit direct and he put a ball in the box and it was different. He got you off the edge of the seat in a bit of a drab moment. That's what Jordan Graham did under Kenny Jackett for us. And I'm not saying that Chiquinho isn't a good footballer or there isn't a player there. People went on like he was a very good footballer.
A lot of people got
wasn't
upset when he
convinced.
went out on loan at the start of the year, and I said like I was surprised with it at the time, but I
Yeah,
thought
I
he
was,
has to. You have to get him minutes, and obviously a couple of games at Stoke, still unsure what actually happened there, whether it was a falling out behind the
he
scenes
felt like
or
with Alex Neil at the time, didn't he?
yeah,
That's obvious.
yeah. But he's done okay at Family Cow this year. 5 goals in all competitions. Kicked on. I don't know how they're doing in the league at all, but um, I don't know. I think he'll be given an opportunity. Obviously, he was already out on loan before Gary O'Neill came in. So I
Yeah,
think he'll definitely be a player to have. I'd keep him as a squad player, and I think this year has sort of opened my eyes up to that a lot more. And obviously, even with the
yeah,
Che Adams deal, if you asked me 6 months ago, I would have told you to do one. Whereas now, I sort of know the situation that Wolves are in financially and with the squad, and I'll appreciate squad players a lot more. And I think Chiquinho could
yeah.
genuinely be one of those.
Yeah, I'm not like I don't hate the guy. I don't think he's a bad player. I just think that
He's
people
overhyped.
overrated him at the
Yeah, yeah,
time,
yeah.
overhyped him at the time, and I think he could come in and do a job for the squad. And like I say, I think you do appreciate a little bit actually having a bit of a more depth in your squad. And like I say, Che Adams deal, which will likely happen. I think we might see a couple more of those deals happen as well.
Yeah.
And I'm all for them now. I think you turn your nose up at it because it's not that exciting, but actually you need depth.
It'll be an interesting season because he's 24 now, Chiquinho. I thought he might have been a year or two younger. So at the end of the year, end of the season, next season, he'll be 25. So that's really where he needs to be knowing
Yeah, yeah,
what
yeah.
level he's at. So Wolves obviously have lost, arguably, they've lost 12 months in him, to be fair. So we'll see what happens. But I'm fairly certain we sign him for such a, 3 million quid. So,
Yeah,
you
keep him
make your money
around for
back.
that.
But so, yeah. Guedes, sell, right?
So yeah,
Yeah.
it never ever wanted to be chasing for 3.5 years, and when he come here, he didn't want to be here. So waste of time, sell him.
Yeah, but it's I don't know. I mean, what did we pay for him? An absolute ridiculous amount of money, didn't we?
It was about
Just under
was it
30
about
million,
27, yeah,
27 and a half.
27, 28, wasn't it?
Yeah, you're not
I
making that
think
back.
he might get 15 to 20 because he has been playing week in week out for Villarreal. I just
So he's
don't
played
know whether
11,
Villarreal
11
would.
games since January, but I think he might have had a little knock then.
He had a knock, I think, when he first went. Because I've been checking Mosquera and I've noticed Guedes has been playing up top or been playing most games next to Sorloth. So yeah, I mean, look, it's an easy sell. I think if you get 15 million euro for him, great. Like, just get rid of him.
Yeah,
Waste of time.
yeah. Well, you say like going back to our last couple of videos, you said one big player like Neto, who we mentioned at the start of this video. You sell him, you say you get 20 to 25 million, and that's being kind to other clubs. I think maybe harsh on what Wolves could get for them. 20 to 25 million for Silva and Guedes combined. I think Wolves can get more than that. You're talking, what, 60, 70, 80
80,
million
yeah,
straight away, So,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so you're talking yeah, say 80 million ish. And, we were inside FFP this year, so all of a sudden there's no pressure then to sell Ain't Real Gomez on top of Neto.
mm,
Um, it's a really interesting summer. I feel like I say that every summer, but it is a very interesting summer
mm.
because I'm excited to see Gary O'Neill have some fun, start building his own team, and seeing what that looks like. But I think also appreciate the cheaper deals in that what comes back in the other way because I think Che Adams will come in. I think there's no secret at this point. I think that's going to happen.
One last player we had was Chem Campbell, Jord. Again, 2 loan spells this year, both in League One with Charlton. He's only played 8 games, second half of the season for Wickham. I think, again, it's probably another loan spell out for him.
Yeah, yeah. Like I just think with Chem Campbell, like he was one that had a bit of promise, didn't he? Because he was playing really well for the 23s at the time.
Yeah,
And then he's gone out on loan and stuff. He went to Charlton, didn't he? He's been
yeah.
at Wickham. It hasn't really worked for him, has it? Um, it's tough. I thought that he'd be one of the ones that actually would probably end up selling to a championship club, like what we said with Cundle and
Yeah.
Hodge, maybe to some extent. I don't know. I
Might
think
still
we probably
happen.
do sell him.
Might still happen, to be fair, to Championship 21. Depends if he's impressed
Yeah,
enough.
I don't know if he has though. That's the
No.
truth of it. Yeah, look, I think he might end up. I think we'll sell him, but again, I think he'll do well to get a championship club. I think he'll have to go to a League One team.
Yeah, well, there we go. Guys, that is all for the Sell, Loan, Keep series for the 23-24 season. Do let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below, what you think about any of the players that we discussed on this video or the last two videos as well. As always, we appreciate your support throughout this season. We'll still be on this week. We would have uploaded the podcast this week. Loads of transfer videos coming up as well. And obviously all the Wolves news will keep you up to date with that. Jord, thank you very much for joining me on this series, mate. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Yeah, guys, until next time, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you next time.